Our story begins with the ultimate life hack for anyone tired of paying off a 30-year mortgage. A guy looks at his smartphone screen, sees a digital clock telling him he has exactly 60 years left to live, and decides to test the software by casually jumping off a cliff. He hits a lucky pedestrian on the way down and instantly becomes an internet meme. He climbs a bridge, plunges off, and lands straight into a truck filled with soft flour. When online trolls accuse him of faking it for clout, he climbs into a helicopter at 10,000 feet, jumps out without a parachute, and gets caught midair by a plane. Welcome back to Too Long Didn't Watch. Today we are speedrunning a 2019 cyber thriller movie, Countdown. Why does this random guy have absolute god mode invincibility? It all starts at a house party where a group of teenagers decide that drinking games aren't dangerous enough anymore. They discover a viral mobile app that claims to predict your exact time of death down to the second. To make things interesting, they agree on a rule. Everyone downloads the app, and whoever has the shortest lifespan left has to chug every drop of alcohol on the table. While most of the partygoers get comfortable countdowns ranging from 30 to 50 years, a blonde girl named Courtney checks her phone and turns pale. Her screen displays a neat little timer, 3 hours left. Her friends think it's a hilarious prank and demand she start chugging. Luckily, her boyfriend Evan steps in to drink her share, but by the end of the night, Evan is so hammered he can barely walk straight, yet he still insists on driving her home. Courtney does the math on a drunk driver plus a 3-hour death timer and decides walking home alone in the dark is vastly superior. The moment Courtney steps out of the car, her phone buzzes with a terrifying notification. User agreement violated. Ignoring the warning, she starts walking down the pitch-black street. Suddenly, weird footsteps echo behind her, eerie wooden puppets appear out of nowhere, and creepy shadows stretch across the pavement. She bursts into her house, slams the door, and looks at her phone. The timer is down to 105 seconds. Panicking, she powers down the device, runs into the bathroom, and prepares to take a shower to calm her nerves. She suddenly hears something in the shower, but finds nothing behind the curtain. Right on cue, a dark shadow manifests in the air, and Courtney gets tossed into the ceiling, becoming the app's first verified 5-star review. Meanwhile, Evan experiences his own customized nightmare. While driving drunk, an invisible force causes him to violently crash his car into a tree. He survives with minor injuries, but a massive wooden branch impales the empty passenger seat right where Courtney would have been sitting if she hadn't bailed. Arriving at the hospital, Evan is traumatized and rambling to a nurse named Quinn. He swears the death app is real, explaining that Courtney died precisely when her clock hit 0, and his own timer says he has less than 19 hours left, which happens to be the exact time he's scheduled for surgery tomorrow. Quinn gives him the classic, "you're just stressed" smile, hands him a sedative, and tells him to get some rest. The next day arrives, and Evan's surgery is minutes away. His phone countdown shows 3 minutes remaining. Terrified, he decides to skip his medical appointment and bolt out of the building. Seconds later, a red pop-up flashes across his screen, "User agreement violated." He ignores it and hurries down the hospital hallway. Suddenly, he glimpses a dark, shadowy figure hovering in the reflection of a glass window, but when he turns around, the corridor is completely empty. Hearing footsteps behind him, he duck dives into a dark stairwell. His phone vibrates. 1 minute left, he sees something moving downstairs. When he turns around, he sees his now ex, Courtney. She lunges out of the gloom, and Evan is thrown down the stairs to meet his premature end. News of Evan's bizarre death reaches Quinn, sparking a wave of paranoia. Out of pure curiosity, she searches her phone's app store, downloads the Countdown app, and types in her personal details. The screen flashes bright red, revealing her remaining lifespan, 2 days and 22 hours. Feeling a sudden chill, Quinn sneaks down to the hospital morgue, unlocks Evan's phone, and confirms her worst fear. His timer hit exact 0 at the moment of his death. Realizing she is scheduled to visit her late mother's grave on the exact day her timer runs out, Quinn calls her father and lies, saying she has to work an extra weekend shift to cancel the trip. Instantly, her phone vibrates with a harsh warning, "User agreement violated." Before Quinn can figure out what agreement she broke, her sleazy supervisor, Dr. Sullivan, calls her into a patient's room under the guise of an urgent work discussion. The second the door closes, Sullivan makes inappropriate physical advances toward her. Furious, Quinn shoves him away and storms out of the room. Back home that evening, Quinn dives into online forums to research the app. She finds news articles about Courtney's mysterious death alongside hundreds of posts from panicked users. One live streamer hysterically claims that a demonic entity is stalking her and she keeps seeing her dead cousin. As she is crying her eyes out, A distorted shadows flash behind right before her feed violently cuts to static. And, of course, the chat says this is fake as hell and she's a clout chaser. Quinn closes her laptop, but suddenly sees dead Evan sitting on her bed like a creep. Quinn snaps, grabs her phone, and smashes it onto the floor. She spends the rest of the night shivering in her car. First thing the next morning, she runs to a local tech repair shop, buys a brand new phone with a completely different number and carrier, and throws her old device in the trash. She turns on the brand new phone, only to watch in horror as the countdown app automatically installs itself onto the home screen, displaying the exact same ticking clock down to the second. When she confronts the store clerk, he insists he had nothing to do with it and points out that the app cannot be uninstalled, deleted, or overridden by factory resets. Shaken and distracted, Quinn gets into her car and almost backs straight into a pedestrian. Her backup camera glares with a dark figure hovering right behind her bumper, but when she spins around, no one is there. Suddenly, a pair of monstrous hands comes out from behind and grab her head. She reverses back into another car. A furious driver behind her starts screaming insults until a friendly stranger named Matt steps in, threatens the guy, and diffuses the situation. Quinn thanks Matt, only to discover that he is also wearing a look of pure dread. He downloaded the Countdown app too, and his timer is even shorter than hers. The two head to a nearby bar to compare notes. Matt remembers that when he opened the app, a lengthy terms of service agreement popped up that he blindly clicked agree on without reading. Quinn realizes she did the exact same thing. To read the actual fine print, trick a local street vendor into downloading the app and carefully read the user agreement before hitting accept. Hidden deep within the sections is a deadly clause. Any user who alters their original plans to avoid their predicted death instantly violates the contract, forfeiting their soul to an ancient demon. Quinn canceled her grave visit. Matt canceled his trip to visit his grandmother. By trying to cheat fate, both of them triggered the aggressive demon hunt. Desperate for a fix, they visit a local church and speak with Father John, an eccentric priest who happens to be obsessed with demonology. The priest listens to their story and recalls an ancient legend about a prince who visited a gypsy fortune teller before going to war. Told he would die in 3 days, the prince sent his brother to the battlefield instead to change his fate. As a result, an ancient demon tortured the prince for 3 days straight before claiming his soul anyway. Father John theorizes that someone translated this ancient curse into modern software code. Armed with this information, Quinn and Matt find a rogue tech hacker named Derek, the boss of that creepy tech shop. After demanding a massive pile of cash, Derek successfully bypasses the app's firewall and accesses the back-end source code. On the screen, surrounded by lines of Latin incantations, is a massive database containing millions of user profiles. Quinn searches the database and gasps. Her younger sister Jordan is listed in the system, with only 13 hours left to live. Panicking, Quinn demands Derek edit the code. Derek manually changes the numerical values on all 3 of their accounts, adding 80 years to Jordan's clock and resetting Quinn and Matt's timers. Relieved, Quinn and Matt return to her house to celebrate, in missionary style. They believe they outsmarted the supernatural system, but as night falls, the bedroom door slowly creaks open on its own, and see Matt standing by the door. Suddenly, Quinn feels a monster pulling her under the blanket. Matt jumps on her bed and pulls the blanket away. Sacred as hell, Quinn checks her phone only to see the timer automatically revert back to its original, terrifying countdown. Hacking the server did nothing to fool the demon. Meanwhile, Jordan is home alone when the hallway motion lights start flickering. She checks her phone and watches her countdown drop right back to 4 hours. Terrified by footsteps outside her bedroom, Jordan hides under the bed while terrifying shrieks echo through the house. She manages to break out of the room and runs straight into Quinn and Matt, who have rushed over to rescue her. The trio runs back to Father John with the Latin source code they managed to save from the hack. Translating the text, the priest reveals a crucial loophole. The demon's power relies entirely on the strict enforcement of the contract. If a user dies even 1 second before their countdown expires, or manages to survive 1 second past 0, the contract is broken and the curse collapses. Since Matt has the shortest time remaining, they decide to help him survive his final few minutes. Following Father John's instructions, they draw a massive protective circle on the floor of an abandoned building, complete with Latin wards to keep evil entities at bay. They step into the circle as the clock ticks down to the final 2 minutes. Suddenly, the lights shatter, pitch-black darkness swallows the room, and a towering horned demon manifests outside the boundary. Father John shouts incantations at the top of his lungs while the demon roars in frustration, unable to cross the line. Just when it seems Matt is safe, the demon shifts its form, taking on the appearance of Matt's deceased younger brother. Overcome with grief and illusion, Matt steps out of the protective circle to reach for his brother. The moment his foot touches the floor outside the ring, the demon grabs him and pulls him away. The other three follow them out of the church. When they are out, they see a truck ramps Matt into a tree. Matt dies the exact millisecond his phone timer hits 0. During the chaotic attack, Jordan gets slashed in the stomach by flying debris. Quinn scrambles to get her sister to the nearest emergency room. Upon arrival, Quinn realizes that the attending physician on duty is none other than Dr. Sullivan, her predatory boss. Remembering Father John's words about breaking the contract by dying early or surviving past the mark, Quinn notices Dr. Sullivan's phone. His countdown shows he still has 50 years of life left. A dark idea takes shape. If she kills Sullivan before Jordan's timer expires, she will break the app's prediction and destroy the curse. Quinn lures Sullivan into an abandoned wing of the hospital by pretending to apologize for her earlier behavior. When Sullivan lowers his guard, Quinn beat the hell out of the creepy doctor with a crowbar and then jump on top of him. Quinn pulls out a syringe filled with a lethal sedative and lunges at him. Before she can inject him, the demon brutally pulls Sullivan out of the room to protect him. The demon cannot allow Sullivan to die early because it would ruin its predictive contract. Quinn chases him out, but the demon tosses her across the hallway. With Jordan's timer hitting its final 60 seconds and the demon blocking every attack, Quinn realizes there is only one option left. She pulls out a second syringe, this one filled with a high-dose narcotic, and injects it directly into her own arm. Quinn collapses to the floor as her heart stops, deliberately ending her life minutes before her scheduled time. The demon even tried to save her life with its dark magic. The demon shrieks in agony as the contract breaks, its body dissolving into ash, while Jordan's countdown clock vanishes into thin air. Jordan rushes to her sister's body, sobbing uncontrollably. As she lifts Quinn's arm, she notices a message written in marker on her skin: Narcan. Sneaky Quinn had a plan B. As the bottle rolls out from Quinn's pocket, Jordan grabs it, administers it immediately, and performs CPR. Quinn's heart restarts, pulling her back from the dead and successfully exploiting the ultimate medical loophole. A few days later, a fully recovered Quinn, Jordan, and their father visit their mother's grave together, finally fulfilling their original family plan. Just as Quinn smiles, feeling victorious over fate, her phone violently vibrates in her coat pocket. She pulls it out to reveal a bright red pop-up message. Update complete. Countdown 2.0 installed. Moral of the story, always read your terms of service, and Pedo Doctor always lives longer than you. That's it for Countdown. If you made it to the end of this video, congrats, you survived longer than half the cast. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more movie breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.